Hey, what's up YouTube? Welcome to the video. In yesterday's video, I took Wes Bos's Advanced React course and kind of customized it a little bit. I upgraded to Next.js version 9 and started playing around with dynamic routing. In today's video, I'm actually going to take the Apollo client and upgrade it to the latest version, which now supports React hooks. No more render props. Thank God. I'll switch over and show you the blog post about it. Here's the blog post that came out just the other day. The Apollo client now supports React hooks. And if you check out the code I've got written so far in Wes's course, you can see that it's pretty gross. Honestly, I cannot stand render props. So for instance, oh, it's not here. I'll just search for it. There we go. Lots of queries. So this is the get item component. This does a query and grabs a single item. You can see you first have to define a GraphQL query here. No big deal. The React hooks implementation, you have to do the same thing. But the gross part here is right here. This is a render prop component called query, and it gets you back a function with these render props here that then the rest of the entire component has access to. Now that's cool and all, but like if you have multiple multiple render prop functions, what's going to happen is it's going to impose like a false hierarchy. It looks like one is a child of the other when in fact they're not. They're actually just siblings. And that's why the hooks implementation is so good. If you want to run multiple queries or mutations on a page, they're just siblings that happen whenever you call the hooks functions, in this case, when the render method is fired on that component. So I'll review the blog post a little bit and then start making these changes myself. I read this earlier today. It seems pretty simple to migrate over. So it looks like, they had a really good area for migrating. Migration guide. Open that in a new tab. So this is interesting. Usually you just install React Apollo, which has React hooks, React components, and React higher order components. But that's like a roll-up package. If you only want to use React hooks, all you have to do is install React hooks, and that's it. You don't need React components or React HOC. This is awesome because it reduces the bundle size by 50%. Let's find that number here. Yeah, so if you are able to use only the React hooks package, which that will be the case for us, the bundle size drops to 5.1 KB, a 50% savings over React Apollo 2. So this is awesome. This is something we definitely want to take advantage of. So let's look at getting started. We should definitely install Apollo React hooks. Let's come over here. Open up our package.json just to make sure we got the right thing targeted. There we go. And this is not a dev dependency. This will be a runtime dependency. Apollo React hooks. Now I also have React Apollo installed here, and I want to see where I'm importing it because I think this can all go away. mutation, mutation, query, query, mutation, mutation. Cool. Oh, Apollo provider. Get data from tree. Interesting. Now see, this is probably all going to change. There we go. This package exports the Apollo provider component, just like the old API. Perfect. But does it export get data from tree? Nope. This is where we need Apollo React SSR. Okay. Okay, so let's do this. It looks like they've really split up functionality into different packages. So it looks like we're going to need both of these. React SSR for the Next.js server-side rendering, and then Apollo React hooks everywhere else. So we'll install both. Apollo React hooks. What are we getting from Apollo Boost? GQL? Oh, and all sorts of this other stuff. Okay, I'm not going to worry about that. Do they mention Apollo Boost? No. So we should be good with our Apollo Boost stuff. So we've got hooks and SSR installed. We can get rid of React Apollo. Actually, man, let's keep it until we get done implementing this. Yeah, okay. So my assumption let's see what React hooks actually exports. Apollo consumer, Apollo provider. What else? Render promises, get Apollo context, reset Apollo context, use Apollo client. Oh, interesting. Use Apollo client's pretty cool. Use mutation, use subscription, use query. So it looks like GQL. Is that even like a thing? Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, GQL is not exported from Apollo React hooks. So I need to keep Apollo Boost for that, which kind of sucks. But let's go ahead and start with, instead of React Apollo, import query from React Apollo. Let's change that to be Apollo React hooks. Import use query. All right, cool. So how do we use it? That's pretty freaking dope. Loading and data. So it looks like you can destructure the use query call into loading, error, and data. That's perfect. So just like this, instead of get dogs, this is what? Read item query. That's the query we have. And we're going to destructure that into loading, error, and data. Looks like this takes a, okay, so how do we pass variables into it? This is great, but how do we pass variables into it? There we go, just like this. The use query takes a second argument, which is an object, which has a variables property. Sweet. So now we can get rid of this entire render prop. Get rid of that return statement. Wow. Look at how much we just got rid of. Just formatting this a little bit. So the first thing we do is grab the ID from the router query, pass that into variables, get back our loading, error, and data, handle our loading and error states, then handle our item states, if there is or is not an item. And if all that checks out, we return the actual item. That's freaking easy. All right, what's the problem? Could not find client in the context or pass in as an option. Yeah, so what this probably means is we're not using the new Apollo client hook. The following examples assume that you've already set up Apollo client and have wrapped your React app in an Apollo provider component. Yep. It's really interesting that they're using GQL from GraphQL tag. Apollo Boost probably provides us with other stuff that we don't even need. Oh, like all this shit. Well, let's read the initialization, the getting started guide, because that stuff has probably changed now that hooks are here. Yeah, it tells you Apollo Boost, React hooks, and GraphQL. Yep. Import Apollo client from Apollo Boost. Right here. Do we have that? Looks like it. Let's see if this works. All right, well. Let's try to search like Apollo hooks. Not working. Okay. Interesting. To connect Apollo client to React, you will need to use the Apollo provider component exported from Apollo React hooks. It's different. So I think this is in utils with Apollo. If it's not there, it's in init Apollo. Apollo React hooks. Yeah. So we are wrapped in Apollo provider. What about our Apollo client here? What's the deal? Maybe that change really screwed it up. Still can't. Could not find client in the context or passed as a prop. So let's log some shit because I want to make sure this is getting created. Let's take a look at that get data from tree situation. Ah, yes. The get data from tree and render to string with data SSR functions are no longer bundled with any of the React Apollo packages. Make sure to use Apollo SSR. Yep. So get data from tree is not from React Apollo, it's from Apollo React SSR. Again, have no idea if that has anything to do with anything. Nope. Alrighty. Let's start logging stuff, see what's going on. So init Apollo. No Apollo found. Then I'm going to create one. Creating Apollo. And then it returns an Apollo client. And let's just log out the Apollo client. Start it back up again. So in creating Apollo, shit goes south. Maybe Next.js has updated their examples. Maybe. I feel like all of my problems always come down to Next.js. So here's with Apollo. Lib init Apollo. It's all the same. Um, Getting started. So look, I have an Apollo client. Look at that. Creating Apollo client. There it is. What's the issue? Apollo hooks Next.js. People are already having problems. How? Have you got Next.js to SSR your GraphQL? I've tried both. I've not managed it reverting back to HOCs for now. Yeah, man, this looks like about what I'm doing. Apollo provider from Apollo React hooks. I saw something interesting up here though. Where was it like a different? What is Apollo hooks provider? I don't think it's a thing. Init Apollo. Okay, so all this stuff is like literally the same. What about this part? Get data from tree from React Apollo. Still using component router. Just passing Apollo client into it as a prop. And this is for an old version of Next. Maybe there's some things that are outdated now. Like maybe they released an updated version of like Apollo Boost. React Apollo is updated. So let me do that. Let me bring React Apollo to the latest. This dude is using Next 902. That's awesome. What about this guy? That's it? What? What is Next-Apollo? Wow. But he says every single page is wrapped with data. If you prefer to use Apollo implicitly on every page, I recommend this example. Okay, right. which says, yeah, all this old shit. Man, fucking Next.js. I mean, let's just take a shot in the dark. Let's npm install next at latest and just see what happens. Typically, this breaks the crap out of everything. Interesting. So it's working on the main page. Like there is a client. But then when I go to this, oh shit, son. Mm-hmm. Sick. Next 9.0.3. You did it. Okay. What did I change? Upgraded Next. Upgraded React Apollo. Added React hooks and React SSR. Get item is now using query. App.js uses Apollo provider from Apollo React hooks. I can get rid of the console logs. All right. I think we're rocking and rolling here. So let's. Okay. What are we doing? We are looking for query components. And we're going to get rid of them. So in items.js, we are importing use query from Apollo React hooks. Let's move this over to the side so we can just copy and paste a bunch of shit. So we want, what's the name of the query? Read items query. And does it take any variables? Yes. Or it takes a skip. How does skip work? Where's the migration guide? Just queries. Whoops. No, skip is a variable in the query. Yes. And so is first. Where are we getting first from? Oh, the environment. Okay. That's cool. Okay, let's handle the loading and error states. Then otherwise, we'll grab items out of data and then return all this crap. Items with an S. So what this means now is we can get rid of the entire query and the render prop. Amazing. Does this work? Okay, we got page 1 of 3. 2 of 3. 3 of 3. And we're all bringing back different items. Woo! I got them. All right. Pretty simple. What else we got? Pagination. All right, let's scroll up to the top again, do the same thing. Change it over to the hooks import. See, we want the pagination query. No variables, so that's going to be easy. Loading error data. Okay, same things to handle those states. And otherwise, what do we do? Crunch the data a little bit and then run return. Dude, how easy. Is pagination still working? Page 1 of 3. Page 2 of 3. Page 3 of 3. Dude, so easy. All right, now we got a query. Another query. Here we go. This is interesting. Okay, so we're going to drop the query here from React Apollo, pull in use query from Apollo hooks. And we want the read item query. And what's this going to do? This could be the same thing. Except for with just the variables of ID. Simple. And we want the read item query, not read items query. Handle loading error states exactly the same. And otherwise at the end, destructure item from data. And now get rid of all this. That's it. So this is update item. It should still work. So let's mess with an item, see what happens. So let's edit this. Now, what if this isn't the SM58? It's now the SM59. Save that. And what do we see? I think it was on page 2. No, it was on page 3. Oh, SM59. There we go. We'll edit it back. Love this microphone, by the way. This one right here. Okay, totally works. And the last query that we have is user. Pull in the use query hook. Oh yeah, this is a higher order component. How do we do this? Might have to look at React documentation. So let's first get all this set up though. So we want the read user query right here. No variables, so super easy. We're not handling loading and error states at all here. So we're just grabbing the data. And what else? What do we do with the data? Props, children, payload. So who uses user? Navigation does, and it literally just sticks it in there like that. Oh, we get data, and we destructure me from data. Hmm. So we know this. We know the children are going to get data. And we don't need to destructure this. They're just getting data passed in. But. So that should all totally be fine. Like how, what is this? Is it going to be a query? Is it just going to be a div? Like what is it? So let's look up render props. So let's go down to that really slick example where using props other than render. Yeah, there we go. Any function that a component uses to know what to render is technically a render prop. Oy, this is weird. So this probably is like not working at all. Yeah, no shit, query's not defined. How does navigation use this? I have a child crying. Bad dream or something. Little daughter's sad in her crib. This happens pretty frequently around this time. She usually settles back in soon. Man, so what is it that we return? Because I literally just want it to provide data. Render prop data provider. Div. It's got to be a div. Yeah. I don't like that. Is it possible to return? Is it possible to return a fragment? Does that work? Like, this probably doesn't work at all. All right, so what if I just go with a div? I guess that's the best way to do it. Data's value is definitely red. What the hell is wrong with you? Data is declared, but its value is never red. It's right there. Well, does it work? Functions are not valid as a React child. This may happen if you return a component instead of component from render. This is tough. Okay, what did this used to be? Used to be a query component. I'll come back to this one and start working on mutations. Okay, so what does it say about mutations? Two things, the actual mutation method and then loading error called and data in the second. So let's look at the first one, create item. Get rid of that, drop in the hook. And then it'll be something like this. What's it called? The create item mutation. And we care about loading and error. This might work as is here. So let's check out create item. Oh, need to sign in first. Not sure what's going on here. Let's double check Prisma, make sure it's actually running. Hey, what's up? Satinder, thanks for dropping by. Liking hooks, yeah, they're pretty dang easy so far. Having some troubles with using them in higher order components with render props, but other than that, fairly straightforward. If you have any tips on that, I'm down. I'm all ears. Let's see, I do have a bradgarropy user. Let's just delete him. I deleted myself, and I will restart. Clear all my cookies and stuff. And start again. Okay, so something must be failing here. No, me is actually working. Do I know how Apollo React hooks work under the hood? I'm not sure what you mean there. Oh, they're using closures. Sweet. Something I'm not very well versed in. Okay, so bradgarropy is there. What's the deal here? What's the deal? How come I don't have... Let me check the network tab. Oh, it's doing that lovely hot mockup reload thing. And it's still waiting. That's right. This is why I couldn't use Next 9.0.3 because of fucking cookies. Mm. What am I going to do? Back to square one on the issues here. So I can only create an item if I'm logged in. Can't log in. Well, okay, that worked. So sign in totally worked. So then how come I don't have a user component? Show me the user component. Because whatever's happening underneath there is not working out. So the user component's here. Let's go to navigation and log this data. Make sure I'm actually getting something. And then we'll see. That's me. So what the heck? Oh, that's why. I do need to destructure this. Oh, right, because I switched it back to payload. And I wasn't using the hooks anymore. Derp. Shoot, invalid password. Got him. Okay. That was a dumb brain fart. So back to create item. Now I can go to sell and get ready to make an item. And it might not have an image, but this is like Apollo hooks, and it's like totally awesome code stuff, and it cost 100 price. Please select the file. This is mandatory. You kidding me? Hook. Give me an image of a hook. Sick. This one's the best. Great. I'll put it on my desktop and I'll use that one. Submit. Ah, interesting. I need to like find every friggin' That's fine. Just a little misstep from last time. Oh, look, we have 11 items now instead of 10. I think it got created. Yeah. Oh, the image isn't working or whatever, but no worries. I don't care. That's not the point here. So great. Our use mutation hook is working. We expose the create item method. We call it on submit. And we check loading and error states. Pretty sweet. I say we check loading and error states. Do we do anything with error? We do. Okay, cool. So that works. Let's look for the next mutation. Delete item. Oh, this will be handy to delete the crap we just created. Let's open up create item to copy paste some stuff. So we got to grab the use mutation import instead of the one from React Apollo. Oh, this cache stuff is stupid. Yikes. So this is going to be called delete item. We care about loading an error, and we want the delete item mutation. Actually, it looks like we don't care about loading an error at all. You don't like test, I guess. What test? So we'll get this mutation out of there. God, I love prettier. Let's see, I'm having... You don't like tests. Well, so I'm actually running, this is Wes Bos's advanced React course, and he actually has a bunch of modules on test coming up at the very end. So in the middle here, I'm actually not using tests. What was I looking for? Where we call delete item to figure out where the hell I call. Okay, I do pass it in an ID. Oh, it's missing in props validation. Okay, thanks, buddy. So I think we're doing okay here. Delete item should work. Yeah, so Tinder, if you want to drop me a direct message on Twitter, this is me at bradgarropy. Shoot me a link and I'll see what you got going on. Alrighty, so delete item should now work. Let's give it a shot with this Apollo hooks situation. Are you sure you want to delete this item? It doesn't like show me the ID. Of course not. Okay. And if I reload, it's gone. Right. This should be required, right? Okay, there. Get rid of that little error. Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, I'll definitely check it out. All right, so delete item now works. Great. Now look for more mutations. What do we have next? Sign in. Alrighty, pulling the hook. Now does it have a refetch queries? Let's see. The mutate function optionally takes variables, optimistic response, refetch queries, and update. So you're telling me that I can put refetch queries here as arguments to use mutation, or here as arguments to the mutation function? This says, when called, the use mutation hook will return a tuple, blah, blah, blah. This mutate function can be called to tell Apollo that you'd like to trigger a mutation. The mutate function optionally takes variables, optimistic response, refetch queries, and update. However, you can also pass those values as options to the use mutation hook personally. So where do we want to do this? I mean, where do we call delete item? Oh, not delete item, rather sign in right here. Yeah, I want that up here when I define it. So this is going to take an object with variables and another object that's what? Refetch queries. Object, like this thing. Prettier, what's your deal? Refetch queries is an array now. Yep. All right, sick. Yeah, so I want to define the variables required and what needs to be refetched at the time of defining the mutation. I don't want to add all that extra logic into like when it gets called. So all this shit can go away, right? And just say sign in. So again, we can get rid of all this crap. And we care about loading an error. Okay, so sign in should now work. Okay, sign up. We'll do a sign in here. Or should still work, right? Yup. Confirmed, man. I got your message. Great, so it looks like sign in is working. Now let's do the sign out mutation. As always, start by importing the hook. Then come down here. Define the hook. So this will be sign out. Looks like we don't care about loading or error. There are no variables, but there is refetch queries. Which is the read user query. All right, let's see if this works. Simple. Grab sign out or destructure sign out from the use mutation to return array. Refetch the read user query. And then this is all rendering a button that says sign out, that performs a sign out. All right, let's sign in. Invalid password, right? We'll go navigate around, do whatever. Oh, it's not good. What's the deal? It lost it. I'm going to have to figure that out later. All right, looks like that works. Now we need a sign up. Same thing, we're going to destructure sign up and then the loading and error responses. That's going to equal use mutation, which we are going to use the sign up mutation. Which takes as options refetch queries, which is now an array of queries to fetch. Done. Yeah, okay, so Satinder is asking, can I please explain simply what is Apollo client? I'll give an analogy, okay? For instance, I'm going to compare this to REST APIs. So for instance, like on the back end, you have a Node Express server. That's analogous to Apollo server. It is code that's run on the server side that exposes an API. Now, client side, think about the REST API situation. Client side, you might have fetch or Axios to send, HTTP request to a REST API. However, if you're using Apollo server, which is a GraphQL server, you can use Apollo client in the browser to send requests to Apollo server. And they're just sending GraphQL requests back and forth. ApolloGraphQL.com actually has some pretty simple guides to get started on Apollo client and Apollo server. Another way to say it is if you're running an Apollo server, a GraphQL server, you can send regular old HTTP requests to that server. They're post requests with just a giant blob of text in the body that is a GraphQL query. And that's kind of difficult to do, right? Like that's a lot of typing. That's a lot of writing stuff out. But Apollo actually makes that easier for you by providing like a client SDK to say, hey, I want to make a GraphQL server and this is what a GraphQL request, and this is what I want it to be. Let me know if that makes sense. And the reason why I'm going over Apollo client today is that they just released hooks support for React. So when you integrate this GraphQL client with React, you used to have to use higher order components with render props, and that's no fun. Now with hooks, everything's a lot easier. So again, I'm working on the sign up component, pulling in the use mutation hook instead of the mutation higher order component. I'm defining the hook here and grabbing the sign up mutation method, as well as it's like loading in error states and instructing it to refetch a different query when this mutation is executed. So again, I can wipe out all of this stuff because I defined the, oh no, I've not defined this yet. I do need to put this up there. And now because I defined it on the use mutation call, I don't need to define the variables at the time when I'm calling the mutation method. Hey, you're welcome, man. And let me throw those links in chat. So the Apollo docs are like pretty awesome. There's a couple places you can do. Starting off, here's like the overall platform, what Apollo is. This section's kind of complicated, but as long as you know that there's like a client and a server portion, these two sections of the docs are very clear. And Apollo is a very React-focused company. Okay, so what's left? I think that might be it. Let's give it a try. So let's sign up. I'm gonna use you as a dummy name here, Satinder. I'm just gonna say satinder@gmail.com, and your password's gonna be like Apollo. So the sign up worked. It's supposed to give us a cookie, which we got, and we are logged in because you can see all the other controls now. Go to our Prisma database. Yo, there you are. Okay. So sign up is now done. Let's finish up with the very last mutation, which is update item. Switching it over to hooks. What did I do? I called this update item. So the hook will return us an array that I'm destructuring. The first item in the array is the mutation function, like a function that actually performs the mutation that you want to do. In this case, we want to update the item. And the second item in the array is like status codes. So loading, in this case, we want to track loading and error so that we can show some loading states and show some errors if the update failed. And that's exactly what use mutation is returning. Now, when we do use mutation, we have to tell it what query we want to execute. And this is the update item mutation, which just says, hey, I am a function, kind of. I view these as like function arguments. I am the update item mutation function, and I take these things as arguments: an ID, a title, description, a price. And I want to run this endpoint update item. And when you're done doing this, I want to return these things. This is like the return value. So what do we do here? Oh, this is interesting because we have two loadings and errors. I don't like that. How do you do it when you've got both on the same page? Apollo hooks query and mutation in one component. Yeah, I get it. It's great. You know what? Let's just tweet at, what's this dude's name? Hugh Wilson. This guy have Twitter? Hugh Wilson? This guy? No, it doesn't look like him. Oh, two T's. Or two T's, two L's. I've had too much whiskey tonight. Sick. Let's tweet at this dude. And at the Apollo folks. I just want to say something like, how do I handle React components with a use mutation and use query call? Where I want to track loading and errors from both. I'm going to save this tweet as a draft. No, how do I save it as I don't know how to save tweets as drafts. Wow, I'm an idiot. How to save a tweet as a draft. Satinder, when do I live stream? Kind of whenever. It's typically every night at like 10 p.m. Central Time. Pretty much like weekdays, 10 p.m. Central, until about midnight. So feel free to hop on by. I always tweet about it before I go live as well. Oh man, and it's midnight. It's getting late. Literally have no idea how to save tweets as drafts. I'll finish it later. Yes, I'm not sure how I would use both. I mean, beyond like renaming the variables, which I think is like a shit way to do it. I don't know. What if I did that? just renamed them. So this would be loading for like query loading and error for query error. Not a big fan of this way. I'm also not a big fan of like how verbose these are. But what are you gonna do? So this is if query loading, and this is if query error. And this is mutation error. And this is mutation loading. So do I just have a loading here anymore? Probably not. Loading. Should have gotten rid of it all. All right, sweet. Yeah, someone like this. If you have multiple queries, you have to rename their loading and error and data variables. But other than that, it's pretty easy. So let's do this too. We're going to get rid of this mutation higher order component. And done. So I should now be able to update an item. It. Now it's whiskey glasses. Save. Go to the main page. Let's see if it actually updated. Whiskey glasses. Cool. All right, sweet. So that's all done. So no more mutations. And I think we had one more query, but I couldn't figure out how to do this situation. Which I'll spend just a couple minutes on because we're getting late here. So I think this is how we'll do it, right? We'll do the use query here. Pull in that as payload and then return this thing. And let's just make this a div. No, can I get rid of that? Is it going to yell at me? Yeah, it doesn't like this. So let's just make it a div. Payload is declared, but its value is like, why? It's right there. Man, what's happening? What's freaking out? Me is null. Functions are not valid as a React child. User.js line 22. I don't know. This one is stumping me. Oh, right. Well, is it? So it's never getting to navigation? I don't know. No, it's there. Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. Like I could just put the actual hook in here and go from there, but I'm sure Wes has a reason for making this a higher order component with a render prop. And why this is saying it's not, functions are not valid as a React child. What is that supposed to mean? I need this like specifically in the context of a render prop. Just in this. Oh, dude. Yeah, but it screws it all up because it's a div. It's like, what about render prop with a no div? Okay, he's getting there slowly. Send props to children. What? I'm assuming this whole thing is coming from this. Or what about that? You're literally just saying, whoa. Sweet. That works. So passing props down is like, no idea. Does that work? Oh, sick. That works. All right, great. We figured it out, guys. So what do? We just returned a fragment that's actually just calling props.children, giving it the payload, and expanding the props. All right. And that's it. We have no more queries or mutations, which means now in package.json, we can actually get rid of npm on React Apollo. Right? Yeah, we're not using it anymore. And let's go through and wipe out all of our console logs. Oh, and let's make this a little simpler too. The user component shouldn't pass down payload. Just pass down data. So this should still work. I'm receiving data and destructuring that and grabbing me. Yep. And then furthermore, I can just destruct that as it's coming in. Do the same thing. Whoa. Destructure me as it's coming in. I am nobody. Can't do anything. Sign in. Whoops. Awesome. We're done, guys. This was a long stream, 2 hours, but we got Apollo with React hooks integrated. Basically touched every single component in here. All right, everything is committed up on GitHub. Let's go. Late night for me. It is, honestly. But it was all definitely worth it. So, Apollo with hooks. What do I think? I think it's way easier than render props. A little kludgy when you get multiple queries and mutations in the same component. Like they all use the variables loading and error. and you kind of have to redefine those. I don't love that. But ultimately, I like them a lot. They're a lot easier for me to understand. So with that being said, I'm going to call it for this video. And then I'm going to continue on with Wes Bos's Advanced React course, finish it out, and you'll see the finished product at the end using all of the latest versions of every package that he includes. So thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.